stage.
You mean the third stage? I'm like, oh, we need a third stage. We're partners. It's sickening.
That was back when I had
It's
good
a
reading
case
eyes,
study
now I
in
don't.
government.
It's presented.
What's that?
Really
Oh,
is.
yeah.
This is presented Baldwin Borough.
That's why.
August,
That's why.
August 9th.
She didn't go.
Okay, there you go. So it's even lower than I thought. Yeah, so.
Nice lady, but
Yeah.
68 years old.
It's made out of redwood back when they were like.
That's what I love, you know, like, and there's so many people who say, oh, you know, he's a great guy. I'd love to get a beer with him, but, you know, he's not that good of a worker. You know, social part. It's sick.
Yeah, it is.
I know. I know. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I know. Oh, we can finally start. Now, don't take my line there, Mr. Baldwin.
I'm sorry, don't take my line.
Okay, all right.
Trying to plan between our party, your party, and Glenn Smith's party. When do you have a date?
I'll message her marketing
Okay.
for you. Like, I'm sure she does have a date. I probably just don't know it yet.
That's the kind of thing.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How are you? Good. How are you guys doing? Good.
Wonderful.
Does he do constable? Remember the bad news?
No, constable is 2 more years.
I don't know.
Yeah, Bob.
Any tomatoes yet? No. I went up to pick one today, or look at it, and here it was bad on one side. So I picked it off, cut it in half, and cut the bad stuff off. But no, they're still growing. I mean, believe it or not, even with all this, I have a soaker hose that I put on if we don't have any rain every third day, and I run it for about an hour. And so it gets done, and I know it looks like nothing, but when you go dig down, it's 6 inches down at least. So.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting my patty cake squash though.
I
had
Audio live.
audio line.
Okay.
I picked. This is what I'll show you a picture. If I get to it.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Get out of it.
30 seconds?
Yeah,
exactly. 5 bucks off. We're 6.89.
Yeah. That was yesterday's harvest.
There you go.
Thank you.
Very official.
Oh, it's nice. Yeah, very nice. So John thought I was making that stuff for dinner tonight, that the white. I still have no time for that. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah. But not tonight.
Good.
No. Yep, what time?
Alrighty.
Okay. Let's bring the meeting to order. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Rambo.
Here.
Mrs. Boyer.
Here.
Mrs. Conley.
Here.
Mr. Egger.
Here.
Mr. D. Mrs. Brown. And Mr. Hayhurst.
Here.
Mr. Mayor DePratis.
Here.
Mr. John Valinsky.
Here.
Ms. Ashley Wagner.
Here.
Robert Farrick is here, and Chief Cortazzo.
Here. Audience agenda. Agenda items only, 5 minutes per speaker or group. Seeing none, let's proceed to the mid-year budget update with Caitlin Horniak.
Hi, everyone. Is this okay standing over here? Okay. This should be fairly quick since we haven't had any major issues at this point in the year so far. As always, for the mid-year process, we meet with the chief to go over the police budget and Randy to go over public works budget. And then we have the finance committee meeting just to review any changes. And then tonight, I'm just going to touch on some of the main updates, but on the agenda, there's the link so you can view the entire update. Revenues are stable. We adjusted some projections for interest earnings, and we updated the ARPA funding to the actual amount that we spent. We did finally use the remainder of that money earlier this year as we planned, so we won't have to worry about those deadlines anymore. The largest adjustment you're going to see is the transfer from fund balance. because of the bond issuance we did earlier this year, we actually won't need to use any of the fund balance. And there's actually going to be a small surplus of about $66,000. And then on the expense side, we had to increase a few line items that were related to that bond issuance, such as the debt service for the year. There were some adjustments in the police department's budget to reflect the higher than normal overtime, and that's just due to the current staffing levels, but that was mostly offset by the, we adjusted the salary projections for the rest of the year, so that was offset there. And then the road program also came in $121,000 under budget. So as I mentioned, we no longer need to transfer anything to the capital improvement fund, and we will see that slight surplus in 2025. Moving on to the capital improvement fund, the grants for the pool have all been received by us at this point in the year and deposited, so that's great. We are pushing back the grant revenue for the salt storage building because that is going to be rebid, along with the security fence and McAnulty Park improvements. Those aren't expected to go into effect until next year. Then the sewer fund, you'll see adjustments to the revenue, but that's mainly due to the timing of the Alcosan grant and the related payments that we have to make to the other participating municipalities. The collections for sewage billing are on track for the year, and Jason sent us over a few updates for the engineering expenses. So after those adjustments, the deficit in the sewer fund goes down from 1.9 to 1.4 million. In the pool fund, the only expenses there this year are utilities, and we did increase those because we want to fill the pool once construction's complete this year to test for any leaks and test the new features instead of waiting until May of next year. So that just led to a slight increase in what we need to transfer from the general fund since the pool isn't making any money this year. The liquid fuels fund and asset forfeiture funds, both no major updates to note there. And then the final fund is the stormwater authority. The only update there was the timing for a grant payment that we added in 2025, and then some updates to engineering that Jason also provided there. So just with that quick overview, is there anything that anyone had any questions about or input, or something you would like to see before next week's meeting, whenever this will be up for to vote on?
So you're saying we're basically on target?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're looking, yeah, there
Yes.
wasn't anything,
With a little wiggle room?
yeah.
Yeah, we're actually under budget.
Yeah.
There was, what was the grant that, there was a grant that just came in, grant monies that just came, was that that was the Alcosan grant?
For the, well, it was kind of timing for a few, but yeah, Alcosan, the final payment, we're still waiting on that for the sewer fund.
Okay.
Yeah, we got all of the pool grants this year, which was great because that was $650,000, so it's really good to have that
That's the
money
one we just got, yeah.
up front to use, instead of pulling from the bond right away. And then there was the stormwater grant, I think that was that the CFA or the?
That was the, yes, CFA grant.
Yeah.
Yes. But
And I think we
the big
planned
one
on
was the
getting that
pool, like
last
she
year.
mentioned, 650,000. We already expenditured enough of those funds that we were able to apply for reimbursement for that grant. We submitted it in and got it a lot quicker than we thought. There's a lot of paperwork involved with that between myself and Caitlin, but we got, there was some back and forth with the state people, but they just
Yeah,
got her to
it's
check.
a quick
Yeah,
turnaround,
I mean,
really.
the last, when he said, I think I have everything, that was only a week ago, and we got the check already.
Good.
Good.
Very
Yeah,
good.
good.
Yeah,
Any
sure.
further questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Caitlin. Always a pleasure. Could you help me understand the change in the sewer fund?
Yeah, so really nothing has changed. It was just, we anticipated getting the Alcosan final grant payment in 2024,
Okay.
but it didn't, we're still waiting on it. So it's increasing revenue in 2025, but it's not actually increasing, cash flow projections because we were expecting to get that money at the end of 2024 and it's just being pushed back.
And it's being pushed back.
So
Okay.
it technically shows a reduction in the deficit, but
Right.
it's not changing our projections. for
Okay, and
cash
that's
flow.
why it's kind of not as
Yeah,
clear to see.
it's
That's
not
okay,
like new
okay.
revenue,
Gotcha.
it's just timing.
All right.
Yeah, that's the big project that we were overseeing. Money, the project comes in for payment, we issue the payment through our funds, and then when we through Lennon Smith submits in the request for reimbursements to Alcoasand. Usually it's about a month between the time when we submit it in and they get us the money. But this last one is a significant one. It's about $780,000.
Okay.
We submitted it in June, and Randy just tickled the director down there, and he apologized. He says, that's completely on me. He says I'll have it reviewed and get it out to you guys as soon as possible, knowing that it was a larger sum. So
Okay.
that's that's a large lump sum.
Yeah,
It's,
great.
Of revenue.
And then just on the general fund, I can certainly appreciate you being candid and coming out with a projection of the surplus. Coming from a budget background, it's always
Yeah, it's nice to.
Sometimes it
nice
could be.
to able to say.
Yeah, certainly. Is there anything that any concerns looking at that surplus, or is there anything where kind of like, could be on shaky ground or anything like that?
No, I mean, I think when we did the budget last year and we weren't sure if we were going to end up doing a bond or what, we knew we had a little bit of money there to move around, but with our police contract negotiations, this is very helpful when we go into budget season.
Right.
It's good to have a little bit of surplus there because we're going to end up needing that going forward. So.
Yeah.
But I'm not concerned about it.
There's been some expenses, in particular Randy talked about one of the larger 10-ton trucks. We do have 2 new ones coming, but in the meantime, one of the ones that we needed, and the cost for it was 28.
It was 28,000 for that one, and another one was like 16 or 18.
Yeah.
We had 2 big hits.
These ones that we weren't getting rid of, so we needed to repair them. So that was a hit that we weren't expecting. So there are
Yeah, we were
things
able
like
to
that.
move some of the funds around.
Right.
And the road program plan.
Yes, that helped.
Yeah, yeah. And probably a question that's more appropriate, I guess, for the 26 budget, but given what Dr. Lubin had mentioned last meeting about the reduction in the SALT minimums, are we going to see a reflection in the 26 budget of a decrease of costs on that side, or no?
The pricing just came in. We just got the bid opening, the amount, and it's similar to the last couple of years.
Okay.
So if the winter is an average winter, you probably won't see much fluctuation.
Okay.
If it's an extreme winter, then possibly.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Any further questions?
And I'll see you all very soon for 2026 budget
Yeah.
time, before we know it.
Good job. Good work.
Thanks,
Good work.
Caitlin.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While
Have a
we're,
nice
while we're,
evening.
while we're kind of talking about budget, I'd like to give everybody a heads up. It seems like an appropriate time. We've gotten a letter from the Pleasant Hills Authority, us and everybody else that is part of the authority that has flow that goes to them and is treated by them. So that's us, Whitehall, Pleasant Hills, and South Park. Basically just saying, hey, we're going to have an update, or I'm sorry, we're planning a project in 2026 for one of their pump station, or not, sorry, not a pump station, lift station, and it hasn't been it was put online in 1980, 82, something along those lines. But anyways, long story short, the overall cost is $4.3 million, and they're like, hey, we're going to need ratification on this. And I said, where was the notice in advance? They're looking at the cost that for us for 2026 of 140. Or I'm sorry, where's the cost page? There it is. 2026, 184,000. 2027, 326,000, and 2028, 360,000. But 27 and 28 could change once the flow meters are instituted. And I'm like, well, that's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of, hey, we need you to approve this moving forward. I said, I need you to come and explain to my council why we haven't gotten notice, why we weren't, this wasn't talked about. It. This has, we have a capital improvement plan. Coming down the road, this is what's going to be next year. We were never, plan for this. We already were gonna be needing to increase the sewer rates, and this is gonna drastically affect those sewer rates, and what we're gonna do. And, you know, Alcosan's is the last year of 2026 is their last year of 7% increases, so we're gonna get their letter on increases under the suit as well. So I have Gene Crane coming to the meeting, the agenda meeting in September to talk to you all, and you can you know, pepper her with the questions of why, what, where, or anything else that you might have in reference to this. And if I left anything out, because Ashley and her firm, you know, obviously represent Whitehall, so they were, you know, they've gotten the same letter.
Right. So when we got the letter,
They sent it to the solicitors.
yes, yeah. So I reached out to Bob, reached out to Whitehall's solicitor, who's one of my colleagues, just to find out, you know, did they expect this? Were they anticipating this? Had the same questions for Bob, and basically all around it was, no, we didn't realize this was coming, and it's, you know, it's a big change, you know, based on what their projections are for cost. So Bob had the great idea when he and I spoke about getting Gene in here to sort of answer some questions about, you know, the quick timeline. You know, you guys are gonna see this, then you're gonna have your budget discussions, and then, so it's fairly quick.
And I had some questions regarding, okay, well, especially the balloon, you know, it may, or I say balloon, but it could also be reduced based on, you know, with the flow meters go into service, this is the cost they're telling us now for 2027, but that'll change once we go to billing based off of the flow meter data, the master meters that they've just put in. So my question is, well, why can't we just have that stationary, the cost that you show, and then in 2028, or sorry, 2029, say, all right, here's the difference that you owe us based off of the way the rates were, or here's your refund based off of the way the rates were. You know, she's like, well, we didn't discuss that. That doesn't make, you know, I said, well, I think that's something that needs to be discussed. Or what about an option to push the project off until that date? And she said that the pumps that are currently running that lift station, they're outdated, obviously, and they have to actually manufacture them. They can't get parts for it. They have to manufacture them, and it takes about 12 to 16 weeks. I said, all right, well, again, I think there's other options out there than just saying, oh, by the way, here, it's August, we're going to do this $4 million project, and you are required to approve this through your council, you know, moving forward, and we need it by September. You know, I think that was a little, you know, aggressive, I think, and, you know, not enough answers for council.
And any change of that magnitude would certainly have an effect on the sewer rates going forward.
Oh, it definitely
Yes.
will.
These are incremental, right?
Yes,
Incremental costs.
Yes, and this is just phase one. It says there's 2 phases. You know, what is the second phase? What is the anticipation for the second phase? You know, I don't know. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Prior to that meeting with Gene, could you share that letter so that we have the information?
I'll email that out
That's a good
tomorrow.
idea.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They do go through the background, the need, you know, the
Yeah.
allocation. So it would be helpful for everyone to take a look for the meeting.
But why so late?
Exactly. Because a project of this magnitude, certainly they've been looking into it for several
They had to have
months.
been
Yeah.
planning.
Right, a heads up
Yes.
would have
And it's
been.
like, oh, wait a minute, we forgot to tell these
Yeah,
people.
this is not news.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what comes out of this meeting is, you know, discuss some alternative options, but then also, you know, we would appreciate, you know, additional notice when something of
Yeah.
this magnitude is coming
Yeah,
up.
I mean, if you're planning something this large, I think, you know, back in 2024, we should have been, you know, a heads up, hey, we're talking about this, and this is going to occur down the road.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, whether it be in 2025 or late or 2026, this is what, you know, and that'll help in our, and what if we already increased the rates, you know,
Yeah.
for sanitary sewer? Then we would have had to be going back to the drawing board and asking for a second increase, you know, the very next year, which I don't think is fair to all the ratepayers. So, all right, sorry, that was a mid-year
That was good.
budget
No, that's
attached update, if you will, as well.
Yeah.
Seriously important item with fairly sizable numbers, really. Okay. On to the engineer's report with Mr. John Valinsky.
All right, thank you. You all have our engineer's report distributed a few weeks ago. I'll go through the highlights for council. So tying off of what the discussion was with the Pleasant Hills Authority, there is a quarterly meeting next week that Jason will be attending, so they'll have an update from that meeting as well for next meeting, or for next month to report for you guys. The streets, Beck's Run, sanitary sewer project, we did issue a punch list to the contractor independent last week for that, and we are currently working on a reimbursement request for that project as well, coordinating with staff on that. The rear Leona project, sanitary sewer improvements, Jason's finalizing the MOU to review with staff as well for that joint municipal effort. The Missionary Drive stormwater improvements, as you're all aware, the bids were rejected last month's meeting. We are working on a rebid schedule, tentative to open in advance of September's meeting. This will be the first bid with the added bidders list requirement in there, so we're working right now with Bob to get that requirement finalized and included in a bid package for that as well. The Elm Leaf Trunk Sewer, Robinson Pipe has been notified to televise the storm and sanitary for that project. Our MS4 program, the progress report is due in September, so we are working on getting that drafted, and I'll be reviewing that here with Bob and Randy in the coming weeks for the September 30th deadline. A couple updates under the road program. We expect Liberoni and Independent to be here around Labor Day to get work started on there. The Rejuvenator project, they did mobilize earlier this week, so that project is ongoing. We will have a couple action items for next week's meeting relative to the poll 2K request. Word transmitted to the bar already for action for next week. Currently, concrete work's ongoing. Expect liners and gutters to be worked on starting next week, and then still targeting the mid-October completion date for that project. The last couple items are all relative to bid schedules for salt storage, rebidding that project to include both units. Expect that bid to go out here later in this year for expected construction starting spring next year in anticipation of being done in advance of the 2026 winter season. The McAnally Park rebid, again, we'll rebid here later this fall with anticipated construction in the spring. The ADA ramp project here at the Borough building, again, anticipate that to be bid out here later in the fall with spring construction next year. And then lastly, the police fencing project is going to be rebid as well. Anticipate opening that.
If I can, with the ADA ramp, we talked about, I'm going to put that on the agenda next week for council's approval to authorize bid on that. And we would like to at least get the bids out and see if we can't get it at least constructed this year. We're concerned with going through the winter, but we'll see, how the bids come in and how quickly the contractor can mobilize. But what the anticipation is to get that work done this year because it is in such bad shape.
Great.
And just so in the mid-year budget update, we moved we originally we were going to wait to see if we've got authorization for the $25,000 grant through the CDBG for that, but the overall project is $50,000 or $55,000, so we figure we'll just push that all to our funds, because if we wait, right now the CDBG funding that people put in back in 2023 were notified in 2024 spring that they were getting they were going to get authorized shortly, and they still have yet to be authorized. Federal government pulled those funds, so I don't anticipate us getting that. They still haven't had authorization to bid those, so I don't anticipate us getting. I'm not waiting until 2027 to redo that front sidewalk. It's in bad shape, so we need to move forward. It's a small enough cost that we can absorb that extra $25,000 and get that through the budget process. So that's reflected in the mid-year budget accordingly. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's all I have for this evening. Unless there's any questions.
Any questions from Mr. Walensky? Okay, hearing none. Okay, on to the solicitor's report with Ashley Wagner.
Thank you. Yes, so Bob had asked me to talk a little bit about the process for repealing an ordinance. And what we're looking to repeal is actually located in rents and charges. That's section 134-3B7. And it reads that where there exists no public sanitary sewer to provide service to the basement area of a unit, and the borough engineer has certified to the borough that the flow by gravity from the basement area to the existing sanitary sewer main servicing those floors above the basement area is for all practical purposes not feasible, then there shall be granted said consumer or user a 33.3% reduction in the total amount of the sewage service charge as computed under the basic rate schedule. And the reason for wanting to repeal that is because, as Bob has said, with grinder pumps now, you know, that
This was back in the
wasn't-
70s, this was instituted, so technology is not there. And it, you know, it was, somebody calls and says, hey, I can't use my basement, but you're still using all the same water, and why should you get a reduction? You know, because your everything else in your house hasn't changed. So why would that be the reason? You can add a grinder pump and you can install whatever you want in your basement, but you're still, and Randy had a good point, hey, I don't have water pipes in my living room, or my dining room. I want a reduction in my cost, but you're still using all the water, and and it's all going to the sanitary sewer for treatment. So there's no need for reduction with that aspect versus also the technology is definitely changed.
Do we know how many users are taking advantage of that?
We have one person call. We have one person call about it, so that's why we want to.
I don't.
Well, I'm sorry to cut you off. Do we know how many are?
None that I know of.
None are currently taking
I call
our
sanitary billing, and none of them. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So nobody.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And when we first spoke about it, we had not really been aware of that provision because of the sense that it hadn't been used since either of us had been working with the borough. So, repealing an ordinance is easy. It's the same process for enacting an ordinance. So we would draft up the document, you guys would take a look, then we would do the motion to advertise, and then the next month we would do the motion to adopt. So it's easy enough to do, and if the council wants to move forward, we're happy to get that drafted. Yeah. Okay. We'll have that for everyone's review then at the agenda meeting, and then we can motion to advertise at the regular September meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there, so when you bring up the fact that it was so old basically and outdated that it really wasn't on our radar, is there any formal review of said ordinances?
Bob is actually going through that with Leonard Smith.
Okay.
We have him actually clean it. There's a lot of stuff in our current ordinances and the zoning specifically, like we don't have anything that says that you can or can't put in cannabis or marijuana dispensary. We don't have anything in there with regards to bed and breakfasts, or sorry, not bed and breakfasts, Airbnbs. A lot of stuff like that.
It makes sense.
So they're completely reviewing it. They're doing it with Bob is doing it with the engineer and planning commission, who would typically oversee that. So they just went through and got the definitions done. Now they're going to go through and look for stuff along those lines.
Great.
So it's a large task, obviously, to go through, and a large undertaking. So that probably won't be completed till next year, the full overall. But we think this is something we need to address as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And that's all I had.
Any further questions? Okay. Mayor's report with Mayor DePretis. Thank you.
Thank you. I will give my report at next week's meeting.
Okay. Chief, do you have any?
Thank you, sir. I do not for now. I have a few things for executive session later.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Administration with Mr. Farrick.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I have a couple items. Ashley obviously talked about repealing of the ordinance. The tri-community, I'll call it fire discussions. We are meeting with Mr. Brady, all three. We're going to have our kickoff meeting to basically get the study underway. That's going to happen on Thursday, August 21st at 6:30 p.m. and that's going to be hosted here in Baldwin Borough's auditorium. We rotate, and it's our turn up next for this, but just to keep it fair and even. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to what we could get out of that. We did get a notice, and this is one of the things that we discussed when we originally started this, that we want to do this on our terms and not have the county force it upon us. The county has sent out a letter to all the fire departments and basically said, hey, we're going to talk about regional fire, and the state of fire, et cetera, and we're going to divide you guys up into the Allegheny County north, south, east, and west, and we're obviously in the south basin. And so George, Courtney, and I crafted up a letter saying, nice, but, we are already in the process of this. We'll be happy to discuss this with you if you want. And they did reach back out and say, they'd be happy to, meet with us and see what we're doing and how we're doing it. So, I think it's, we got that couple steps out in front of them here on this. So,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a good thing, the tri-community. There will be a volunteer fire tax credit on your agenda for approval next month. We have 3 on there for approval. The Kiwanis Holiday Festival, just wanted to note they have picked the date. It will be Friday, December 12th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Here at the Borough Building. And the log cabin, I do have an update. When I typed this up and sent this out, it's in one of the panels, if you will, so one of the 8 sides is going to be a little lower. The only thing I have is the tripping in and out of it, because it's secured to the ground, into the ground with posts, stakes, whatever it is.
Was this like a league thing?
No, it's just recreational. Apparently, all the Boy Scouts are doing it. Dave Pogany, one of our public works foremen, he's with the youth ministry, and he goes up to Jamonville, and apparently the kids all up there. So anybody who goes to camp does all this stuff, apparently. So I never heard of it. When he was saying it, when he was telling me this on the phone when he originally started talking to me, I says, I'm sorry, can you say it really, really slow? I don't understand what you're saying. I thought he was just like slurring, gaga ball. And I was like, I don't know what you're saying. So and his dad got on, he goes, gaga ball. And I'm like, what is gaga ball? So if you want to Google that and take a look at it, it'll give you a little bit of an idea, but never heard of it. So,
Because
but
my
apparently it's
concern
super
would
popular.
be, who would be liable if somebody got hurt?
Right. Yeah.
But, it's similar to
Will they have the
our play
answer?
equipment. It's, it's gonna have a rubberized, not a rubberized, but we told them, fiber mulch on the interior ground surface. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, I think I agree with Bob. I think it would have the same, risk as a playground structure and arguably the same, coverage, right? If there was an accident, I think it would be under the same policy
Umbrella,
that the borough has right now. It's umbrella policy. We can always call and double check that, and let them know that this new feature is being added and see if we need to add a specific provision. But I wouldn't anticipate any trouble there necessarily. It's going into the park, and again, the borough's
we
well
all play
insured.
with lawn darts, so.
Recreational activities, expanding recreational activities in the borough is important.
Yeah, I agree.
We have to look at the liability aspects of things, but,
We
we're
can
gonna
always,
see what he has to say.
I think-
I have no idea what it is.
I think looking into it with our insurance carrier to make sure that, okay, if we
Right.
expand this, how is it covered? Is it covered? Before we commit to anything.
Right.
No, I agree, but
I
I don't
wanna know
think
that.
I don't think it's gonna be anything more different than when we install a slide, type of thing.
Yeah.
But we'll check.
And is
Sure.
it a permanent structure or is it temporary? When
It's
he's
permanent.
done-
It's permanent. It'll stay up. He'll just like any Eagle Scout
Right.
project. It has to be something permanent that they're going to do for a community.
Do they pay
We've
for
had
it?
it. We've had an Eagle Scout at Santa Park put in a concrete pad for a picnic table over there, and also installed 2 wooden benches. We had another one. What was the other one?
The other one was the Masick. He redid some revitalization on the Masick grounds.
Oh, no, another one was the book, the library.
The library.
Yeah, here,
Library.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, they're all permanent. And then the other thing I asked was what type of maintenance would this, incur for us? We would have to replace the mulch, but we do that every spring with all of our play structures underneath. So it would just be adding something in this little 20-foot area. But the wood he's going to stain it. That'll probably last 10 years or somewhere along that.
Well,
So there will be some maintenance on our part at some point, but nothing super drastic.
Patty had a good point. Who's paying for this?
as an Eagle Scout, they have to do it all themselves.
They have to raise
he
the
has,
money.
He has to raise the money, he has to build it, you know, the whole thing. You know, they try
Yeah, build
to
it.
they try to get donations, but a lot of times, you know, I think the parents end up forking out the cost.
Yeah, that's the thrill of having a kid that's involved.
But,
You
yeah,
pay a lot.
That's part of the Eagle Scout, you know, project purpose.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to get community involvement, donations, and they've got to build it themselves or do it themselves, whatever it is.
They also have to
Have
do
you
a
played
written
it?
plan, they have to attend government meetings, they have to do all this stuff. It prepares them.
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe it's good for kids of all ages.
That's right.
Well, I'm not against the idea. I think it's great whenever you add anything to your parks and that.
Right.
Just make sure that it's covered somewhere,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree.
some way, somehow.
So that is all I have,
For sure.
for sure.
Any questions for Mr. Farrer?
Yeah, we're gonna have an executive session.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Oh, Bob. Butch isn't here and Aaron's not here. How can you do that for them?
Okay, I'll give a brief finance report. From a property tax perspective, we've collected practically 97%. So we're in good shape on that front. From earned income tax, we're at 56, a little over 56%. County taxes were about 51%. Real estate transfer taxes, we've collected about a little over 60% of what we budgeted this year. So that's looking pretty good. From an expenditure perspective, in total, we've had about 53.75% of our overall expenditures against between 75 and 76% of the revenue collected so far. So we're looking good there. From the sewer funds perspective, from a revenue perspective, we've collected about between 45 and 46% total overall. Sewer rents were at about 57% of the amount of the billings that we've collected. So we're in line with where we should be this year. From an expenditures perspective on the sewer side, we've paid out about 1.6 million to Alcosan sewage, which is about 47.5% overall. Pleasant Hills Authority sewage rate right now, we're at about 75% of our budgeted amount. Overall expenditures are about 50%, a little over 50% versus 45.79% of revenue. So we'll be collecting some more overall. So, if you have any questions, I try and answer as best I can. There'll always be more next week. Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to Public Works with Mr. Rambo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will give my report at next week's meeting, and I'll kick it to the Honorable Randy.
It is.
Thank you.
We need shovels and bulldozers.
I'll try to move over so there's an open spot tonight. No, that's okay. That's okay. With the, try to move on through this fairly quickly. With the road paving projects, I think John had mentioned a couple of the things. The rejuvenation product was placed. We did give them a notice to proceed last month. They did come in on Monday and today and finish that. It really looks well. We do have the demonstration roadway that we told you about, so we're going to keep an eye on that. It's actually growing. It's growing a lot in popularity as far as the technique and how the benefits of that.
How many roads did you do?
We did about 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
take
exactly
some
right.
off and put some, but it's around 14.
Okay.
It's 30. It was like 39,000 square yards, give or take.
Okay.
Total, and they recommend, like some of the other municipalities, they're trying to incorporate it into their actual road program, where the first year after a road is paved, they put it down, and then they have a program that tells them in 3 or 4 more years, they put a second application on it. That's what some of them are doing. We're not there yet. We did a lot of ours, if you recall, we did a lot of ours for the utility paving work that was done, that we had a lot of benefit from these last handful of years. Only certain roadways were candidates. Some were, if they were done 4 years ago, they might have had a little bit too much cracking, or if there was a big hill, we talked about big hill or big bends, they're not candidates. But a lot of them that we did were already utility paving that was already done by those folks. And a couple of roads that we did add that product. So we're gonna keep an eye on it and see how it's going.
I mean, if you're a good example, the hill, we did the lower loop of Green Glen. Obviously, the hill is just too steep to put that product on. So that didn't get done.
Right, so if you saw
That's
down
what
the
we-
line,
If you go visit your neighbors, you'll see it.
and just to clarify, it looks like one of the paving contractors is supposed to mobilize next week, but it looks like most of the work won't begin, a lot of the work won't begin until the early September. We're trying to get them here beforehand, but the June and 2/3 of July weather has curtailed some of that, but we should start seeing some people moving here shortly. Moving on, there was if you happen to see Columbia Gas, it's a company called R&R, they're out of Ohio. There was about 35 properties identified in Baldwin Borough that they were doing that they called a meter swap. And so there's people that still have their meters inside their homes. They were found, and when Columbia Gas went about and did that, very similar to what the water company did with the lead pipes, if you recall, like 2 years ago, and last year they finished those. This is a very similar type of a project where a utility company goes in, they find something they're not happy about, they want to change it, they pay for it, they do the restoration, all that good stuff. So they found about 35 homes currently in Baldwin, and that project is ongoing as we speak. The water line replacement project that was done in the Gales Bliss Faith area, that is substantially complete. A little bit of restoration needs done, but most of the paving's been done. The project's substantially complete as of today. Moving on to talking about just the Curry Road. If anybody's been down there with all of the construction and the lane changeovers and things like that, you're seeing a lot of activity now where they did a lot of excavating, they did a lot of grading, took out a lot of some of that old material that was in there. They went down about probably 30 inches or so in the sub base, and now they're laying a concrete base of lanes going in. That's what you're seeing now. So it's pretty substantial work. Again, that work goes till anticipated spring of 2027. It's being done by Golden Dragon. At the pool, the zero entry, they did do some of that work. If you ever get a chance just to maybe stand up on the hill, maybe look over, you'll see how that's starting to take shape now. You'll start to see they have a couple of the posts in, well, you will be seeing the posts in, they had to take them out because they were pouring today, but you're gonna start seeing some of those things start to take shape, where you're gonna see where these posts are going for the rainbow, for the
water
buckets,
features.
for all the water features, for the buckets, for the mushroom umbrella things that they have. All these things are going to start coming into play. So the gutter is really key. That's the next thing. We've got to get that gutter in. As long as that gutter comes in, we're going to be fine. But that's the next key thing for them to continue to move, to do the work that they're doing. So hopefully in the next week or two, that gutter should be in, or hope to be in. With summer help update, the one gentleman, his last day was this past Friday. So he is now done. He'll be heading back to school. He had a vacation plan in there. Those kids and their vacations. Geez, and then he's going back to school. And the other gentleman, he's going to be working till the end of this month. That's a little bit about that. The truck updates. We talked a little bit about that with the cost with Caitlin, how we took some big hits. So we kind of talked about that over the last 12 months and what we needed to do. We have been told that the first truck that was ordered in the end of 2023
Yes.
will be here at the end of August, supposed to be here at the end of August. And the truck that we ordered, or we got the slot for in December, where they said things were calming down, getting a little bit more back to normal this past December, we came in front of you, we got the slot built for that. That's supposed to be delivered end of October. Should be here before our winter season, which is the big thing. So we have these two, we're going to call extra now, 8 or 10 ton truck Hill Internationals. One will be a backup for sure. One we know has a lot of work that it needs to keep it on the road. So we're hoping just to maybe figure out which of those two, which is the best of those two old ones to keep as a backup. and the other one we'll put on municipal. Speaking of municipal, we did start putting some of our vehicles on that. One of the bid auctions ends this week for 2 police vehicles, and the bids are increasing, so we're getting got a lot of good hits with that. So we're hoping that that continues. That's that process we've done before. I don't know, you're familiar with the municipal process before? Okay, Paul, were you? Okay. Yeah, so they're on there, and the first problem, we didn't want to put everything on at one time because it's too much. There's like 6 pieces of equipment. We thought, let's just do it in stages. So we did the 2 police vehicles right now. They're first on, and that bid auction ends this week. So we're hoping to get good results. The one reserve has already been met, the other reserve is close, and then hopefully as they get closer to the actual bid time, then those people start putting in additional bids and keep that auction going.
Yeah, quick question, the new trucks we're getting, will they be already fully outfitted?
They're fully out, right now that's where they are. They're actually at, the one is getting finished at Stevenson. And that one's getting fully outfitted. That one's almost finished. That's one's supposed to come this month. The other one is getting transferred from Hill International. The chassis is done, and then that's going to be taken over to their next. But they need about 2 months to finish it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
come with plows, the salt spreaders.
Yeah.
The plows, the
Right.
hydraulics, the
Right.
buttons,
Yeah.
the, you know,
Right.
to adjust the spreaders and stuff
Right.
like that. So that's a little bit about that. That was the municipal bid. We finished the extra camera installations we had in the budget at various parks. Those were completed in the last couple of weeks. We actually had a tutorial today between me, Bob, and Dave Pogany, and we, you know, kind of getting those online now. So, you know, we'll get with the police department, so if there's anything that happens down at these parks, we can coordinate between the 2 of us to see if we can catch anybody that's maybe up to something that they shouldn't be. So we're hopeful that they'll curtail. It seems like since the ones we do have, and we have some signs up, basically smile, you're on camera, things have calmed down, in my opinion, so far. I looked at the car wash, but so far it seems like it has. We started our safety committee meetings in July. We started that particular program that we were required to do. Our insurance carrier, I guess, mentioned they needed us to start doing that. And lastly, I had an outstanding project for months. It was pretty involved with a lot of CCTV review of a lot of sanitary sewer lines. And I had a lot of shout out to Erin, who helped me tremendously get that done this past month. So a shout out to her. Thank you, Erin. Without her, I'd probably still be trying to look at these videos and figure out what the heck I'm going to do with them. But she did all the transcription and the spreadsheet data input. So that was a huge help to me. So I didn't have to do the view, the hand notes, then transfer it to something else, and then try to create that. So it was a huge help. So thank you, Erin. But I wanted to give her a shout out. She's a new employee. She's doing great.
She said Randy's voice is calming.
Yeah, she did say my voice is calling. I said, you haven't seen me on Sunday, so. And with that, Mr. President Pro Tem, is that correct?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
That concludes my report for this month. I'll take any questions.
Sir, any questions for Dr. Lubin?
Just a quick question.
Yes.
Just on the gas meter replacement, are there certain plans of homes that for some reason they were kind of like, how does that kind of happen where there's only, you know, out of so many homes in the borough, only 35?
Probably all.
They're sporadic, they're all
They
over.
are
right.
all
I mean,
around.
is there a rhyme or
It wasn't
reason
like a
just-
specific subdivision, like this
Yeah.
whole street,
Right.
or it was like a onesie, twosie here and there. Baldwin Township, we were lumped in, I first noticed it, because he told us we had like 100. But we were lumped in with Baldwin Township. So we had that discussion, I said, no, we're Baldwin Borough. So they separated us, so, but between the two, the Baldwin Township and Baldwin Borough, there's over 100 of them. I don't think there's a rhyme or reason, I think they just go
I think
around,
it's a
they
certain
notice
age
it.
of the home. If, you
And-
know, like if they were built in the early 50s.
40s,
Yeah,
or before.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just funny. I mean, how, you know, it's such a small.
And they
number.
did offer to move them, I want to say it was like the early 80s, to move them out of your house. But there was one saying, you're not coming to my house. So,
Yeah.
I think they were trying to keep the meter reading down, so a lot of them are still in the house that were originally moved out.
Right.
So yeah,
Now they do
they're
that
just all
remotely.
over.
And don't forget too, this is Columbia Gas.
Right.
At the time, there was 3 gas companies. Over the last, you know, umpteen years now, there's basically 2 people, you know, they teamed up with Equitable, but there was 3 at one time. So there might have been others that have done it
Okay.
over time.
Just
But
curious.
this one was Columbia
Usually
Gas.
it got moved when the house sold
Right.
Yeah.
to a new owner.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that new owner, when they go to apply for gas, are told, your meter's in the house.
Something's funky.
We're gonna move it outside.
Yeah, ours got moved We had
When
to
I
have the
moved
gas
in.
line replaced.
Well, you had to, so when you had work, then that was also maybe
They took,
another.
they took it out of the house and
Yep.
put it outside.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure. And lastly, just touching base on that, it got me thinking about the bid for the salt. Came in at 88.32
Yeah.
that time
That was-
for the award that they opened. And as you all know, Mr. Korski had passed and Sue is just getting caught up. So we just got that information the other day, that bid opening and what the results were.
Monday.
So,
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Anything
Thank you,
further?
sir.
Oh, sorry. Did you
No.
just- Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Aaron, thank you for your help. Okay. And what, Parks and Recreation with
Thank
Patty
you,
Boyd?
Mr. President. I will give my report next week.
I do want to make a quick note. There is one item on the blanket list that came in. It's the Cub Scout pack. They've all, this will be their third year, I believe, doing the sleepover up at the Elm Leaf Park, at the pavilion area. So that is going to be under your waiver request on the blanket list for next week. So that will also need a waiver request, fee waiver request, that is, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now zoning and planning with Mr. Egger.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I've been working on it the whole time I'm sitting here. And thank you, Bob, for sending over the updated report. For the month of July, there was 51 permits applied for, bringing our total for the year to 348. Fees for the month of July was $6,456.50, bringing our total to $70,834.89. There is no planning commission meeting, zoning hearing board meeting to be held on August 25th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. And that concludes my report.
So year to date, we're ahead of where we were last year.
Yes, we are ahead.
Okay. All right, any further questions for Mr. Egger? Okay, thank you, Mr. Egger. Public safety with Butch D. That report will be given next week. And now personnel, Marion Conley.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I have no report at this time. I probably will next week.
Okay.
I have nothing further, so thank you.
Okay. Okay. It's time for audience agenda. Any issue pertaining to borough business, 5 minutes per speaker. Seeing
Don't
none.
look around, you're the only one
Hearing
here.
none? Okay.
So if you have nothing, just like that.
So I'll need a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
Second.
Second, we have a motion, John Egger, and a second by Marion Conley. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now in executive session. We'll not be coming back out of executive session.
All right, let me go ahead and fade to black.